Hello, my name is Pat Belford. My piece is on Maggie Walker. A little bit about her is she was born in Richmond, Virginia, 15 July 1864. Her mother was Elizabeth Draper, a former slave, assistant cook for Elizabeth von Loo. Um, they lived on the Loo estate. Her father was Ellis Cuthbert, an Irish American. Met Elizabeth on the estate of Elizabeth von Loo. They were never married. Later, Elizabeth Draper, her mom, married William Mitchell, who was the butler on the Elizabeth von Loo estate. And then in 1870, Johnny, her half brother, was born. Um, as a teenager, uh, Maggie joined the Independent Order of St. Luke. St. Luke was an advancement of African Americans in both financial and social standings. Um, she graduated high school and then went to training to become a teacher and graduated that in 1883, where she returned and taught at the Lancaster School to teach. Yeah, she went there and stayed there until she got married, which was actually in 1886. There was a policy in place that teachers weren't allowed to be married. Um, so she married Armstead Walker Jr., who was a brick contractor. They had three boys, um, Russin, Melva, and Armstead. Armstead died as an infant. Something tragic that happened. Her son Russell shot and killed his father. He thought that he was an intruder. Um, so yeah, that was pretty sad. And in the 1900s, um, there was basically one way to communicate with different people throughout your organization, besides talking to them, and that would be through newspapers and newsletters. And um, the St. Luke's organization that she was a part of, um, they were trying to build themselves, trying to build the African American society up, basically. And through doing that, Maggie went through with the bank, the newspaper, a building, which was not just a building, but a store, like a hardware store, and they sold cloths and whatnot. And some of the things that she shared was that her message was of empowerment, self-respect, and self-help. They wanted to have an economic advancement and be proactive in creating new jobs for the members of St. Luke's. They weren't very they were very successful in this, because they needed people to run the stores, and so they had merchants and people that worked the printing presses and whatnot, and it was all very brought together for part of the community in Richmond. So she had, throughout her time as being a teenager through a grown woman, until she died, she was a part of the St. Luke's fraternity there, and she had different capacities in which she held and responsibilities of the order. She began with like a delegate, all the way to the top leadership, which was the Right Worthy Grand Secretary, which she made that in 1899. And that position she held until her death, which was in December 15th, 1934. She was also, when they created the bank, she was the first African American and first woman to ever create a bank. Some of the things that she said about making a bank was that she needed to earn the title. She said, "Let us put our money together. Let us use our money. Let us pull our money out and to usury and among ourselves." So the black community, and then reap the benefits of having their own money. So they in Richmond, they totally transformed the social standings of the African American community, and they had their own um, social structure. It was something that's pretty amazing. So when St. Luke's Penny Savings Bank, they ended up consolidating into with two other banks, and they consolidated with the Consolidation Bank and the Trust and Merger. And Mrs. Walker agreed to serve as a chairman on the Consolidated Bank, and the as a chairman of the board's directors. Um, and that bank was actually going up until 2009. So it was like the one bank that was ran, owned, and operated by African Americans in America. There's several other so there's showing her headstones and whatnot. They actually have statues in Richmond now of her, and it's a pretty beautiful. When you go downtown and check it out, they also took her house and made it. They took it over in '75, the National Park Service, and then, or it was '75, and there's three different dates I was given: '75, '78, and '79. But anyways, it's a part of the National Park National Park program, so it's a part of the Park Services. So a ranger will actually take people through and do tours. And if you have groups more than 10, then you have to actually pre-register. But that's just some of the things that she's done, that like they've actually stopped and everything. The house she had started off with 9 rooms, and it was ended up with like 28. And then I was looking, and most of my information I got was from the National Historical Site for Maggie Walker, and the National Park Services from the U.S. Department of Interior. It was amazing, like that I went to school for the military in Petersburg. My cousin lives in Richmond, so this is like a real big like home bringing me home, giving me some background on it. That's all. Thank you for your time.